Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, salutations, greetings, and all of those things. Welcoming you to a StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm cast between a Zerg and a Terran player. These two players, relatively, well, their names should be well known, especially our player down at the bottom right-hand side here, formerly a member of Evil Geniuses, but recently, of course, his time was up. Things had to move on. It is idra. I'm going to say idra, so if you're going to have a cry about that, better get your tissue box ready, because it's been idra for me since Brood War days, when Artosis was the first person that I got to see casting idra. So he calls him idra, and I'm going to do it that way because that's the way I've always known it. Tomato, tomato, if you will. So he's going to be down here. He's moved on from Evil Geniuses, of course, and has been, still playing a little bit, not necessarily at a professional sort of pace anymore, I suppose you could say, but still streaming a lot, still playing a lot more for all intents and purposes, from some things that people have said to me, and also, I haven't actually been able to watch the stream too much, but he just seems a little bit more... I don't want to say blasé, because that sort of implies that it's kind of I don't care and that kind of thing, but a little bit more, I don't know, kind of a little bit happier with it, I suppose, is the general feel that people have been getting when he's playing. I guess it's just not having the stress of, sort of having to carry the weight of not only being an excellent player, but also, trying to uphold a little bit of that bad boy mentality sometimes. Whether it's intentional or not, I suppose that could still factor in as to your state of mind when you're playing the game. So he's going to be facing up against a Terran player, of course. One of Idra's nemesis in the world of StarCraft has been a Terran, since ironically switching from Terran in Brood War over to Zerg. But up here at the top left is our blue Terran player, who has been a part of the Clarity Gaming Academy for quite a while, which was news to me. I didn't actually know that, but I spoke to Bones on Twitter, and he said he's been there since day one. So I didn't know that, but it is iLoveMKP. We've seen a few games from him. You may know him as Mubi. That's his stream account, and of course his Twitter there, which I've just linked before. He's a very, very high-quality Terran player who has amassed a ridiculous amount of games, and from what I read on his Clarity Gaming account on the website there, this is actually his first RTS game. So one of those rare sort of players who has just jumped up from out of nowhere and has just played their first game and said, all right, I kind of like this game, and I'm doing quite well with it. So, he's now up in the Grandmasters League on the NA ladder, doing quite well there, and we'll see how he goes facing up against one of the high-quality NA players. So I'm just going to start us out very simply. Getting the gas up, getting the spawning pool, and no doubt that hatchery down there at the natural as well. Start Station, a very big map, and the reason that I really like this decision from idra to get that really quick metabolic boost is just because Reapers can be quite a little bit of a pain on this map. There's a lot of area that they can jump into. Of course, you do have your front ramp there, which they can jump through. There is a cliff all over the place here, even like all the way up here. It's just insane how much space there is to jump about with those Reapers on this particular map. So it's good to get that speed out, just to make sure you have a lot more mobility with these first few lings that you get out. Your Queens can help with deflecting the Reapers as well. Generally, most players feel very comfortable once those first two Queens are out, but also having the speed is just a nice little extra little advantage. Not only does it help you with the Reapers, but as we can see here, he's going to have a little bit more map control now that he sort of pokes around, confirms that there is a natural there. There is also a bunker as well, but it gives him a little bit more mobility just to bounce around the map and try and control those watchtowers and things like that. So idra is going to continue on with his macro here, well known for being a strong macro Zerg, happy to drone up when he feels like it and bust out that massive economy. We can see that 7 drones just about to finish up right now. Getting his third hatchery down here means that he's going to have a pretty decent economy. The thing about Star Station is there is a lot of exposure on these third bases. You've got the multiple attack paths coming in from the top side, if we look at it from this position, and also from the left as well. Drops can proceed in through the back over this whatever this thing is. I don't know what that is, but you got drops that can come in through the back here. If you'd like, they can also drop off here, which can sometimes be undetected, but a lot of the time you can just see them drop straight into the back. So Terran players really do like this map for a lot of the general facets that, you know, we do see commonly on a lot of maps, but also Zerg players can like it sometimes. Now with the crossbots positions forced on this map, it's a lot better for Zerg because there's no longer any troubles of expanding your fourth base towards your opponent this way. Like if iLoveMKP was down here in the bottom left, that would be a little bit annoying for Idra to have to expand in that direction, or perhaps up this way as well, because this base is also very exposed and can be dropped upon, or you can sort of flank that from multiple sides. So this map has gained a little bit more popularity since the change to the cross-spawn positioning. Looks like it will have a few Reapers now pushing out on the map. Idra trying to capture those with some of those Lings. The Lings just bounding after them as quickly as they can with that metabolic boost, and he isn't going to be able to get them. Yeah, he does back off, so good decision there, but we can see that we are going to get some drop play coming out of iLoveMKP. The very famous flavor of the month, the Hellbat drop, is about to proceed here from our Terran player. He's going to build up a third command center behind this. We see that armory already done. You know, obviously, everyone knows you need to get that armory out to be able to make these Hellbats. And we can see that down at the front door, we've got an interesting composition. The first couple of Marauders have already come out. This is a nice way to play it safe, just in case the opponent tries to bring in some like some roaches or anything like that very early on, which can come about quite a bit in this matchup, especially I'm sure if anyone watched the GSL Codes finals, we got to see a lot of Roach Bane based stuff here, and some really good drop micro here from iLoveMKP. It looks as if the Hellbats are... Oh, that was a little bit unfortunate. They were actually doing quite well there, but it did go down eventually. It looks like a secondary drop now coming through. The third base going to be the target here for these Hellbats. They do drop in on top, trying to get them on top of the drones as best as he can so that he can drop down a heap of damage, but it looks like they will escape for the time being. Idra trying to split them up to make sure that he cannot get a massive amount of damage, but they still are able to punish quite a lot of those Lings that tried to come across and defend. And this is like the really big problem with trying to defend this kind of drop, is that it takes quite a lot of Lings to kill off those Hellbats. It takes you know, the Queens quite a few shots to either kill off the Hellbats themselves or kill those medevacs that are sort of floating about as well. And then in the middle of that, your drones still are almost guaranteed to take some damage. So far in this matchup, we've only seen 5 drones go down, and you know, that is a pretty impressive sort of total for Idra to only have that many drones lost for the time being. So pretty good to see him just limit the amount of damage done. A lot of players we do tend to see will pick up a like a spore and then a spine in the back line here of the minerals, and that can really help out with defending the drop, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee that you are going to be fully successful with it. So we'll see what happens here. It looks like iLoveMKP is now going to push back across. He's got more Hellbats adding into this mix. That medevac is very low. He's going to try and clear up some of this creep spread. It's always good to try and stop that creep spread before it gets too far across the map, because otherwise you'll be drowning in creep spread all over your base, and that can never be a good thing. He's going to try and push through. Idra trying to surround from the back with some of the Lings, but not doing too well. Those Hellbats are utterly decimating all of those Lings here. The Marines and the Marauders, they do finally have their stim, and they're about to get 1-1 on their upgrades, but it looks as if he is going to be forced back. Too many Queens and a few too many Lings on the ground there for the Terran player, so he is forced to head back home. But speaking of back at home, he has now got his third command center up and running. The SCV count isn't massive, it's only at a 53, but he does have these golden mineral bringers, the mules, now dropping down onto that third base, so he's going to be able to get that economy roaring quite hard right now. We'll probably see maybe, how many racks? Oh, we've actually got quite a lot of racks already. We've got 7 racks out, so he's producing quite a large amount right now, and sticking with Hellbats. This is one thing which is really interesting to see from iLoveMKP, is that he's not adding in Widow Mines. You know, the normal sort of thing that you'll see from the Terran players these days is they just once the first few Hellbat drops have got some damage done, whether it be a little bit or a lot, you then normally will transition into the Widow Mines. They trade very effectively against things like Lings. They can also annihilate Banelings when they clump up and get their speed and all these kinds of things. Speaking of speed, Idra very far behind with his Baneling speed right now, but These Hellbats, they provide the ability to tank. They can soak up a little bit of that Baneling damage, and we'll see if he is able to perhaps shoot the Banelings down before they get in range of all of those Marines. But now, as we can see, iLoveMKP has cleared up the creep spread on this side, but Idra is still going to come through. We got a lot of Lings approaching from the side. Banelings trying to sweep through and take out some of those Hellbats. Idra actually targeting down the Hellbats with those Banelings there. Very interesting to see that kind of tactic there, but you do have to keep in mind that the Hellbats are actually light units, so they do take that extra bit of damage from the Banelings, but it looks like he's going to get a little bit of damage done, and I don't know what's going on there. He's just decided to stop. The medevacs have like run out of fuel or something like that, but that's kind of weird because then they'd fall to the ground. But I don't know what happened there. But the damage was, there was a little bit of damage done. He did force quite a lot of Lings, had to switch in some more Banelings. The fourth base has been delayed quite a bit. We can see that there are no drones here. Idra is up to 70 drones, so it's not as if his economy is in the toilet or anything like that. But he has been able to hold himself together for now and keep his pace at a decent sort of rate right now. But iLoveMKP is still going to continue on through. We got a lot of Marines. Has to be very careful with those splits. Needs to split them up as best as possible. So many Banelings, but it looks like the Hellbats and the Marines are able to polish off the majority of those forces. And iLoveMKP has now got a very dominating force here. Idra now has some Mutalisks that have come out right now, but the 2-2 is just about to finish up for iLoveMKP, so he's going to have the very powerful 2-2 Marines constantly streaming units across the map. We can see Marines, Medevacs, and Hellbats just constantly coming across, now looking to clean up some of this creep spread, and I'm not sure this is going to go too well for Idra here. He tries to surround and actually does an excellent job of surrounding those units, but with the only defensive unit left over for Idra being those Mutalisks, I think this may be here done and dusted in a second. We see that there are all sorts of tech available for Idra, but unfortunately, he was just not prepared for this continual stream of units making its way through the map, and there we go. Idra has been defeated and has left the game. So there is a quick but an interesting game there from our Terran player from Clarity Gaming Academy, iLoveMKP, up against the former EG player Idra. And I'm sure he's still going to continue to be a wonderful player as well. But so keep an eye out for him, and I'll catch you all next time. He's now just got one inside the gas geyser. In fact, he's taken two out. So we'll see if he's just planning something a little bit fishy here. But the spawning pool not quivering at the moment. This is one sign that you have to be very careful of when you're approaching